January 1969, Memphis, Tennessee. The building you are viewing is the Shelby County Criminal Courts Building. It's located at 150 Washington Avenue in Memphis. This building is a huge fortress-like building of stone, concrete, and steel. It was constructed in 1925, and the materials used in this construction, along with the original security and the efficient administrative features contained within its walls, leaves one with the knowledge that its architect and planners were far-sighted and much ahead of their time. This building is bordered on the north by a drive running east and west between 2nd and 3rd Streets. It is bordered on the west by 2nd Street, on the south by Washington Avenue, and on the east by 3rd Street. Its appearance on the outside is consistent with the architectural conceptions of its time, flamboyant at points, but still manifesting the somber view of justice that is stern, swift, and sure. This criminal courts building is located within the civic complex of Memphis and is closely allied with the Shelby County Office Building, which presently houses elements of the Sheriff's Department and the Attorney General's Office. These buildings are connected by 2 tunnels which facilitate traffic between them. You now see other adjacent civic buildings which help to compose the civic complex: the Shelby County Building, the Federal Building, the Memphis City Police Department Building, and back to the new Shelby County Building. The Criminal Courts Building contains 2 courtrooms and judges' chambers, the administrative offices of the Sheriff's Department, and the Shelby County Jail. This is a documentary of this jail. The jail occupies a substantial part of this building. Its average population is 525 prisoners per day. Persons housed here are charged with or have been convicted of crimes ranging from misdemeanors to the most felonious. Sentences range from a few hours to several years. We would like to take you on a step-by-step journey through our jail and demonstrate and explain the procedures which violators encounter from the moment they arrive at the jail until they meet their scheduled court appearances. After an individual has been arrested by a member of the Sheriff's Department, he is brought to the north side of the jail. He is taken from the squad car and guided to the north door of the jail. The accompanying officers push the switch, alerting the control room officer located inside the jail to their presence. He identifies them and opens the door, which only he can by means of an electric solenoid switch arrangement. Upon entering the jail, the officers and the prisoner find themselves in a small foyer, with still another security door blocking their way into the jail proper. In this foyer, the officers surrender all pistols and revolvers to the control room officer, who receipts for them. If the officers have a rifle or shotgun, they are placed in a locked steel box located on the north wall of the foyer. When all is considered clear by the control room officer, the officers and their prisoner are admitted to the inside lobby through the security door operated by the control room officer, also by means of an electric solenoid switch arrangement. This is a view of the control room recently constructed within the jail. It has an area approximately 10 feet by 20 feet and is completely composed of steel and bulletproof glass. It houses the all-important jail key control system and remotely controls by means of an interlocking electric solenoid switch arrangement 4 security doors leading to and from the inside lobby of this jail. This post is responsible for gun control inside the jail and is considered our first and last center of security.
Sanders Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office.
When the officers and the prisoner leave the first foyer of the jail, they are now in the inside lobby, which is the view you're seeing on your screen. This area is approximately 10 feet wide and 20 feet long. It contains jail office number 1 and exits and entrance doors to and from jail office number 2, lobby of the criminal courts building, the Bureau of Identification, detention cells, the central record room, and the door to the north foyer. All doors in this area are operated by the aforementioned electronic solenoid switches.
Call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office.
Upon entering into the inside lobby of the jail,
IF 653
the inside lobby officer proceeds to search the prisoner which the officers are bringing to the jail. He searches him for any type of contraband and then also searches the arresting officers to make doubly sure that no contraband is entered into jail office number 2.
420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office.
After the search has been completed and the inside lobby officer gives the all clear to the control room officer, the prisoner and arresting officers are let into jail office number 2. Jail office number 2 that you're viewing on your screen occupies an area approximately 20 feet by 24 feet wide. Here the prisoner is processed. His commitment papers are checked for proper identification and charge. He is again searched and relieved of all personal articles, including matches and cigarettes.
72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office.
His shoes are minutely searched,
Call services. Our location
clothing minutely searched,
Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92
to again ascertain
72 Pate, call your office.
that no contraband
Pate, call office.
is allowed inside this jail.
3 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420
After he has been searched
92 Clayton,
and he's been signed into the jail, the prisoner is allowed then to make a telephone call.
your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653
This telephone call could be initiated to anyone to whom the prisoner wishes to call.
Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building.
His right thumbprint has been taken for jail identification, and after this has been completed, he is taken to the Bureau of Identification.
Call office.
The prisoner again travels through the inside lobby of the jail
Our location
to the door leading to the Bureau of Identification, which is also, again, operated remotely by the control room officer.
call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's Radio Call Services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office.
Upon proper clearance by the inside lobby officer, the control room officer opens the door, and the prisoner is in the Bureau of Identification.
Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee.
In the Bureau of Identification, a personal history is taken from the prisoner.
Call your office. 72 Pate, call
His name, his address, all aliases which he wishes to give, wife's name, name of his parents, occupation, is all listed on the personal history which will be filed within the Shelby County Jail. After the personal history has been taken, his fingerprints are taken. A copy of these fingerprints are stored within the Bureau of Identification within the Shelby County Jail. Another copy is sent to the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Washington, D.C. He is then photographed. One photograph will be a full front view of the prisoner. The second photograph is a profile of the prisoner. After all these activities have been completed, the prisoner is then weighed and his height is checked. This can be used later to determine whether the prisoner is in good health or whether he is suffering from some type of disease. An X-ray is taken of his chest. This X-ray is picked up by the Shelby County Health Department three times a week. They read the X-rays and they make recommendations as to treatment for this prisoner. After these activities have been completed, the prisoner is then taken to the detention cells, of which there are two. The area of these detention cells are approximately 15 feet by 20 feet and 20 feet by 20 feet. Each cell contains toilet facilities, a drinking fountain, a wash basin, also benches to sit upon, which are aligned along the side walls of the cells. The prisoner remains here until he's released by payment of fine, released by court, or transferred to the floor after being bound to the grand jury from General Sessions Court. When transferred to the floor, he is dressed in jail clothing, which consists of blue dungarees and blue shirt. Up to this point, this prisoner remains in the detention cells in the clothes with which he was brought to the jail. Upon being transferred to the floor, the prisoner changes into his jail clothing, puts his personal clothing into a paper bag, and proceeds through the Bureau of Identification, again through the inside lobby where he is minutely searched, and the bag in which he has deposited his personal civilian clothing is minutely searched, as well as the officers who accompany this prisoner. And when all is clear, the inside lobby officer will again signal the control room officer to open the door, and the prisoner is on his way to the floor of the jail. Again, the prisoner goes to the jail number 2. In this area, he's relieved of his money, all except a total amount of $10, which he is allowed to have with him in his possession on the floor of the jail. His personal clothing is stored in the basement of the Shelby County Jail, and he is issued a receipt for both the money or any money which he might store within jail office number 2 and also his clothing. The prisoner is placed upon the elevator. which is one of two entrances to the floors of the jail. This is the one that is most commonly used for transfer to the floor of any jail.
Call office 72 Pate. Call your office 72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location.
The jail elevator is separated from the jail office, number 2 area.
Clayton, call your office 92 Clayton. Call office 72 Pate. Call
It's in operation 24 hours daily.
call office.
It has constant communication with jail office number 2,
Radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office.
and as been said before, transports the prisoner to the jail floor, which has been designated by jail office number 1.
AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee.
Upon reaching the designated floor, the prisoner is taken from the elevator,
72 Pate. Call your office.
and the escorting officers relinquish custody of the prisoner to the floor officer.
Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee.
When the floor officer receives this prisoner,
Call your office 92 Clayton. Call office.
he signs him in on the floor sheet and assigns this prisoner to a cell.
AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office 92 Clayton. Call office 72 Pate. Call your office 72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your
The prisoner is issued a blanket and a mattress,
72 Pate. Call your office 72 Pate. Call office.
and sheets,
653 Alexander
and is taken to the cell which has been assigned to him.
Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. Your office 72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location
This prisoner can be assigned to any one of 4 maximum security cell blocks or 1 dormitory type cell block
72 Pate. Call office.
which abounds on each floor of the Shelby County Jail. This prisoner is being assigned to one of the maximum security cell blocks.
Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office 92 Clayton.
He is taken into the cell block,
Pate. Call your office 72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee.
and door controls, which are mechanical, are manipulated to let this prisoner enter the cell block.
72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office 92 Clayton. Call office 72
As the prisoner steps into the cell block, he is in a small foyer.
Call office.
This foyer abounds on one side with a grill type of arrangement, and on the other side by a solid wall of steel.
92 Clayton. Call your office 92 Clayton. Call office 72
The door controls are manipulated within the outside quarter as has just been seen, and the prisoner enters the block proper.
radio call services.
He is assigned to the cell.
92 Clayton. Call your office.
This cell block
Call office.
is composed of 6 cells, 5 open front cells, which have grills on the front, and 1 closed front cell.
Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office.
The block has a shower arrangement,
72 Pate. Call your office.
and along the grill, which separates the cell block proper from an observation quarter, have a long table where the inmate
420 Diamond Building, Memphis.
can sit and write or play games. Each cell contains a toilet, a wash basin, and a built-in steel bunk.
Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420
These cells are small but entirely livable, and in the back door of each cell
Clayton. Call
is a feeding port
Pate. Call your
and a visiting port.
72 Pate. Call office. AIF 653 Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton. Call your office 92 Clayton. Call office 72 Pate. Call your office 72 Pate.
These are utilized at feeding time and at times when the prisoner has a visit.
Alexander's radio call services. Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office.
Here you see a view
Office.
of the
72 Pate, call your
observation
office.
corridor,
72 Pate,
which has
call
been said before, separates
IF
the main cell block
radio call services. Our location
and
420 Diamond Building.
the observation corridor by means of a grill.
Clayton, call your office. 92
As you see, stationary television
Pate, call your office.
within this block
Call office.
helps to monitor
IF 653
all activities of the prisoners.
Our location 420 Diamond Building, Memphis, Tennessee. 92 Clayton, call your office. 92 Clayton, call office. 72 Pate, call your office. 72 Pate, call office. IF 653 Alexander's radio call.
After a certain time within this cell block of the Shelby County Jail, the prisoner
This is radio station KIF 653
reaches his day in court.
radio call service.
He is dressed He is turned over to a criminal court officer, and the criminal court officer transports him to criminal court, to which he has been assigned by means of a stairwell and tunnel. The tunnels are well lighted with security lights and have emergency warning systems installed.
Your office, 92 Clayton, call office, 64 Fudge, call your office, 64 Fudge, call office, KIF. Radio station KIF 653, Alexander's radio call services, our location, 420
The prisoner enters the courtroom
92 Clayton, call your office, 92 Clayton, call office, 64 Fudge,
and here by due process of law, he will be judged guilty or innocent of the crime for which he is charged.
3 Alexander's radio
Prisoner rights
location,
and legal responsibilities are forces which allow a fair and impartial trial.
call office, 64 Fudge.
May it always be so.